Hello, my name is Luann. Welcome to Sheep Shenanigans Art. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you joined me last week, I made a short podcast and I took I've been on hiatus for, almost a year and a half. So I'm starting to do some videoing again. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. I apologize last time I videoed. I am in a whole new setup. I used to have an HP laptop. Now I have a MacBook, which is a whole nother ball game. I'm having to relearn everything because I've never been a Mac person. I don't even have an iPhone. So I'm using iMovie, and I don't know what happened. The sound, for some reason, it wasn't recording very loud. So I went ahead, I got me a little microphone here. I'm hoping you guys can hear me a lot better this time. We'll see how it goes. And I'm just kind of playing around with video and cameras and that kind of thing. So bear with me. If you guys have any suggestions how to make things better, please leave them in the comments. I would really appreciate it. But thank you so much for tuning in. I finished a project today. I wanted to share it with you. And I wanted to show some of the dyed roving that I did, natural dyed roving, a few weeks ago that I didn't have on camera last week. So let's go ahead and start off. I live in southern New Mexico. I retired and now I am going back to work. I've been working about 32 hours a week at a nonprofit teaching science education, and I will be going back to full-time come January. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I love what I do. So we had a field trip on Friday out at our nature park, and it was a lot of fun. We did a nature hike. I showed the kids evidence of termites, and it was just so funny. I had a really small group. They were fourth graders, and as soon as I showed them the evidence, it was a half a mile hike, roughly. They were pointing out, "Oh, look, termites!" So it was very exciting, and I got them to look for tracks. We had a probe where we did soil moisture, soil temperatures. We talked about rainout shelters. It was fun. So needless to say, I was very tired last night, so I slept good. And today I was inspired to do a little weaving. And so I've had this project on one of my looms for a while, probably since beginning of this podcast last summer, I think. I really don't know. I have a lot of what do you call it? The edges of rugs. It's not Pendleton scraps, but it's something similar. I can't remember where we ordered them. But I had warped my loom, I think, with like 9 feet of cotton warp to make rugs. And so I did. I finished one this morning, and I'll go ahead and tie off again and keep going. I'll show you a future project in a second, what I want to do. After I do a couple more of these rugs, I have another certain type of rug in mind, but, and I didn't measure it. I don't know. I'm sorry. I did not measure it. I want to say it's roughly about 34 inches wide. My loom is, I think, 36 inches wide. So it's almost the width of the loom. Let me get this fringe out of your way. But yeah, it's just lots of stripes. And what I'll do, since this is obviously too big to stand up and show you, I am going to put a picture of it right there. So bear with me. But yeah, it was grays. It looks kind of dark on camera, but this is a dark blue. And I found some yellow to put in there. So I love these rugs. I have a lot of them all over the house. They take wear, really well with my dogs. This one's going to stay in here in my fiber room on the floor. I did have I think I purchased a caribou hide, and the hair is starting to slough off of it. So I thought, okay, time to put a nice rug down that doesn't slough. So these are really easy to throw in, the washer on a gentle cycle, and then air dry them outside. And they seem to do really well. So I'm very happy about that. The next one, I think I used all of these colors. So what they do is they send you the scraps, and then you have to, they're about like yay wide, and you have to put them in a ball so they're usable, because it's just like a bag of stuff. So you have to untangle them, I should say, and put them all in a ball. And I have various colors. I don't know what my palette is. This one I just I winged it. I found some and thought, oh, let me do stripes, and I just grabbed, So it didn't take a lot of thought in the design, but I really do like how it came out. So that is my little shaggy rug. I'll put it on the floor. So after I think I'll do one more with the ends, and then I want to do a project because I have to do some more spinning. So I have some alpaca. So I knew someone here in town that had alpacas, and they were mainly pets. Okay, so I don't even know. I think it was when I was still working at the museum and doing my fiber programs. They reached out and asked if I needed some alpaca to do my fiber programs, and so I ended up getting some from them, and then I think I started purchasing some of the blankets a year or two later, and then I would process them, and I think I got so sick of washing fleeces and trying to card it and do it the old-fashioned way. I think I went ahead and washed a bunch of alpaca and took it to a fiber mill in Arizona during COVID. I think it was 2021 or 2022. And they went ahead and made it into roving for me. And I had various colors. I had a whole bunch of this color, like a little light brown color. Ton of this. I've already spun up, and I don't think I have any more black, and I had some dark brown. I'll look through my bins. I'm not sure. I'll see, but I know I have white. So I figured with this and white, I can make me a really nice alpaca rug. And what I did, and so this is from my Spinolution spinning wheel. I think it's a King Bee. I went ahead, I have a crochet thread on here, white crochet thread, and what I'm doing is I'm core spinning. And I have 2 of these bobbins, another one almost done. I don't know how much it'll weave. I need to figure it out so I can get some spun up. But I wanted to go ahead and fill my bobbins. I want to say I have about 5 of these bobbins that I can do, and if 3 of them are full, I just need to fill 2 more. But I want to use this, and hoping it will be a nice soft rug that I can put down. And it'll be cotton warp, because that's what I have it on already. It's some cotton rug warp. So we'll see what it looks like. I'll probably do some kind of a stripe pattern. I haven't quite decided yet. It's just something that I've always wanted to do, and now I'm going to do it, since I'm already, this rug that I just finished did not take me that long. Pretty quick weaving. So I just need to get my loom set up again, and we will go from there. So stay tuned on that weaving project. So my roving that I dyed a few weeks ago, so I had all that yarn that I showed you with the natural dyes. And so with that, let me show you how the roving turned out. Excuse me. All right, so, and I think this particular one, yeah, this was some fin that I purchased. And this was from the dye pot of the indigo after I dyed t-shirts, after I dyed some yarn, and I think might have even been after I put another t-shirt in the crock pot. So this roving I put in the crock pot with the dye bath. I didn't put it over the gas stove, but it came out like really baby blue, which is really, really nice. So I think there's about a little over 4 ounces in this bag. So we'll see what kind of project I'm going to do with that. I think it came out really, really nice. I thought at first it didn't take very well, but after it dried, I think it took all it could take. It turned out really nice. And then I had some Osage orange. That's what it was, Osage orange. And the rest of this is all, I had purchased some organic merino roving that I wanted to use for dyeing I don't even know. I've had it in my stash for a long time. So I thought, well, let me pull some of that out. And so this is from the Osage Orange. And it turned out nice. It's like a lemony color. And I think I have 2 of these bags of about 4 ounces of Roving. So that turned out really nice. Really nice pale yellow. And then I did the madder root. And this shows the 2 colors actually. This is the lightest. So let me do this one. So pull it out. This is also merino. And so this was, I'll pull out both these. They're a little bit different, and I don't know if it'll pick it up on camera. This one actually, yeah, you can't really tell. This one's actually a little bit darker. This one's a little bit lighter. And then I think the very last that I dyed in that pot was this one. Yeah, you can really tell how much lighter it is than the first one. Okay, so this was my last one. This one was the middle. And then this one was right after I dyed all of the yarn. So you can kind of see the gradient a little bit. I don't know how good my camera is picking it up. But yeah, I've got lots of cool merino that I can spin up. I really like the color. It's a nice peach color. And I don't have too much of that color in my stash. And I finally organized behind me. I had most of my hand spun yarn. That one has some purchased yarn in it. That's not hand spun. This is a lot of my art yarn that I did, but this is all my hand spun. So you can tell I don't have a lot of, I guess I'm in front of the orange bin is right there. I do have a little bit of oranges, but they're not this light. So I'm really excited about spinning this up, and we'll see what we decide to make with it. I do not know. I already showed you that. Okay, so I have something I want to go get and show you. That was my roving that I forgot to show you last week with my dyed yarn, but I did a project this morning after I did my weaving with some felting. So let me go grab that really quick. Okay, I'm back. So I had some homemade soap that I was eventually going to give out as gifts. But I decided I've acquired a bunch of odds and ends roving from a person that did a lot of felting. So I acquired that. It's just different colors, different probably breed types, but I think most of it is merino. But I dyed I didn't dye, I felted some of that handmade soap. And so these are some of the ones I did. So these were like the colors I chose are kind of like for the fall. And they look a little bit more green on camera, but they're actually, like this one has some nice autumn colors in it, I guess you could say. There's some yellows. This is a light green, so that is kind of mossy. And this one's more yellow. So I thought I would start felting all of these soaps. I have a friend that I've given some felted soap to, and she's interested in gifting some to some of her friends. So I thought, well, let me start slowly but surely. I have a few more of these round bars of Castile homemade soap, but I think what I've done in the past is I've purchased Dove Shea Butter soap, and I think I'll go get some of that, and I will just keep continuing to felt different color palettes. But this one really is nice, I think, for the November Thanksgiving months, and give it as gifts for Christmas too. So yeah, I thought that turned out really nice, my felted soap. And then, so probably, I think it was August, I did happen to find a class. And like I said last time, I don't really take very many classes, but this one was, I'm old enough to go to the senior center. Can you believe that? And they offer classes. The city offers classes. And I took a lapidary class, and I had no idea, have never done anything with gems, rocks, anything. And so it was really interesting. They had I guess a saw I think that's what you call it, a cutter to cut stones, cut rocks, and then a trim saw. I think it's what it's called. So we could use some of the rocks they had there in the classroom, or we could bring some. So I actually had 2 rocks. One of them was from hiking around. I think one of maybe our nature park. I don't know. Hiking around here, and it actually turned out really nice. I bought the chain, and I bought the I guess the pendant. I don't even know what you want to call this, but yeah, it is really pretty. So we sliced. I had probably a chunk of rock like that, and you slice it up, maybe 3/4 or 1/2 inch sections. I can't remember what I did. And then you take like a mold in this shape, okay, the oval, and you draw a permanent marker around it. And then you go back to the trim saw and you trim it out. You do lines and you trim it out. Excuse me. And then after you do that, then you take it over to, they probably had different grades of grinders, probably 3 or 4 different levels, I guess. And so you would start with the one that was more abrasive, right? And then you go down the line to find like sandpaper. And you go around and you go around and you go around. And finally you have a really nice oval, which after a while it was like, oh, cool. I think I made 2 of these. And like I said, I think it turned out really well. There we go. I think it turned out really well. This one here, I don't have a chain on it, but I did put the hook on it. Yeah, there we go. And that one has a lot of interesting, see the greens, the different shades? Really cool. And what I did learn, this one has, oh, right there, there's a line right there. So this one I tried to make, I think might have another one of these, but I think I tried to make one just as big, but it ended up breaking. And, these little cabochons, they call them, they have cracks in them. And so when you go to trimming or when you go to start sanding them down, they will crack on you if they have it in them. And this one I thought was going to crack on me, but it did not crack, thank goodness. And I went ahead and so this is a little pendant. Let me go on this side. It's just around the edges. So of course I just glued it around the edges. You can see the back of it. And I will probably use the chain that I have on the other one. But yeah, I thought that was really, really, really cool. It's another hobby if I wanted to do something in addition to my fiber, but it's just the tools that you need to do this is, you have to cut it and then to get all the grinding ones. Yeah, it's a lot. So, and then even to hold it so you can grind it, you put a little wood dowel or like a tee from golf, and you have to use some hot wax, and I can't remember the name of the wax, but you put it on the back of your cabochon and you let it dry, and then you have it where you can easily rotate it and manipulate it around the grinder. So I thought that was really cool. All right, so those are my cabochons. The next project I want to start, and I don't know how to do it. I need advice. I have probably 2 fleeces of brown. Let's see, of Icelandic wool. You can see the tips. You can see the tips, they're light brown. I have, like I said, 2 of these fleeces, and then I have one that's white. And these Icelandic fleeces I washed a few weeks ago, and I want to try to spin, I guess it's Lopi. There's several versions of Lopi. If anybody knows how to do this, knows what the different thicknesses are, let me know. But I think it's just singles, and it's really lofty. You get a lot of air in it. and I want to try to knit that into something to wear. So it'll be something's going to take me a little bit, but I want to, before I dive into it, I really need to study it and see what I want to do. I haven't weighed the fleece to see how much I have. Maybe I will, once I know what thickness I want to spin it, maybe I will do a, couple 100-yard skein and see how much that is of my fleece, and calculate how much yarn I can get to do the yardage for something like a vest, maybe. I don't know. But I did get these fleeces from Fire Mountain Fiber. I think they're in Colorado. Yeah, Colorado. I found them, I believe it was the Taos Wool Festival, or it might have been the one in Santa Fe a few years ago. And it was like a collective of shepherds, and they had a lot of their fleeces, and this was one of the few Icelandic breeders. I think I bought a small fleece, and then I think I reached out to him 2 years ago to see if they had some, and they did, and I had it shipped. So it's some expensive fleece, because to ship a fleece, shipping is not cheap. So I want to really study how I want to do this so I can get something really nice and worthwhile with what I paid for the fleece and what I paid for the shipping. But yeah, this is their card, Fire Mountain Fiber. So that is something that I'm going to ponder. I won't start it right away because like I said, I'm doing the last video, I'm trying to crochet a blanket. So I want to try to get pretty far along with that. And I don't know if I want to, I have a knitting project in the back of my head. It's all ready to go. I have the yarn, I have the pattern. It's like I think it's a shawl or kind of a wrap. So if I have some time, I'll pull that out. But I'm going to focus on weaving, focus on core spinning, and then we'll see where I'm at with this Icelandic and the Lopi yarn. Another cool thing I found out of my stash. This, I think it was last year when I went to the Fiber Fiesta in Albuquerque. And let's see if I remember where I got it. I can't even remember. I went to a felting class, and the gal had a booth there. And so I went to the booth and I got this little kit. I thought it was so cute. Little Jacob lamb. So I'm going to pull that out and felt it. And maybe next time I'll have it for you. But I really enjoy wet felting. I enjoy needle felting. I'm getting better at needle felting. I was kind of intimidated just because I am prone to hitting myself. So I do hit my fingers every once in a while, but maybe the more I do, the better I'm at with the needles. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I will attempt to do that. So anyway, let me get me a drink of tea really quick. So it is starting to get dark early here. I will pull out my quilt because it's starting to cool off. I like to do my quilting this time of year when it's a lot cooler because the quilt is really hot. I have wool batting in it. So I want to show you my 9-patch quilt that I'm working on. I will do that in the upcoming videos. And I will also, I'm going to take a pause here. I'm going to grab my sample tapestry and tell you a little bit about my class that I'm going to do next weekend in Albuquerque. And yeah, hold on. Okay, I'm back. So I made a PVC loom just to show as an example for my beginning tapestry class that I'm going to be teaching, just because looms can be so expensive. One of my favorite tapestry looms is cactus flower, and even a small cactus flower loom is like $170. So I thought I would try to do all the techniques on PVC because PVC is pretty cheap. Probably, gosh, this whole thing maybe cost me like $10. I don't, it wasn't that much. But what I did, and I don't have anything glued, I just pushed the elbows and everything in. But these are basically the techniques that I'll be teaching. And this yarn, is my homespun, and I do believe it's all hand dyed. So probably acid dyes is what I'm thinking. But, you know, we're going to show them how to do the stripes, meet and separate, and then we're going to attempt to show them how to do like angles. Basically, it's moving, meet and separate. And then we're going to do the vertical rows. And I don't have the polka dots on here, but that's another one I will show them how to do, polka dots. And then I don't have it on here either, sumac, if they want to do sumac, maybe with a thicker yarn. But I like to show them, I have my hand spun up there just as examples of yarn. What I like to use is Brown Sheep Company. I love to use that for my Navajo weaving, and I think it's a great tapestry yarn. So I will take samples of that. I usually have, excuse me, 2 sets, the Brown Sheep, and then, which is usually singles, and then I'll do 2-ply. And I'll show, you know, if they want to use my yarn, or, you know, if they didn't bring any, they can sure use my yarn, and I just make them stay with the same. That way the thickness is the same, and it's easier for the beginner, because once you start getting different sizes of yarn, that'll throw you off, because then you'll start pulling in the edges, and it's just, you just want to stay with the same thickness. So so yeah, I'm hoping, I think I have 10 people signed up. I think we had 8, a limit of 8, and then I knew a gal, it was her birthday, so she's bringing some of her friends to celebrate her birthday. So we should have 10. But yeah, they can use some of my looms if they didn't bring any. All I have are some basic wooden looms like this, really simple. And the idea is just to go through these different techniques and make a small sampler. It's not going to be a masterpiece, or it's not going to be anything too huge. Okay, so it's really simple, but I'm looking forward to that. I take beaters, but basically I give them forks so they can learn how to do it. I don't have enough nice beaters, but I do show them examples of beaters that they can purchase. So I try to show them weaving on a budget, and if they want to go ahead and spend the money for the nicer things, then that's fine. I show them the resources to do that, and I have a little pamphlet that I hand out. So yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm going to end the talking part of my video here. I think I'm gonna do a little short video spinning on my Lendrum, the coarse spinning, just to show you a little bit how I do that. But I have enough projects to keep me busy for a while. I will not record. I probably won't record till after I get back from Albuquerque, so it may be a couple weeks before I record. We'll see how it goes. But I will keep weaving in the meantime, keep spinning, and keep crocheting my blanket. So maybe the next time I see you, I'll have a lot, bigger blanket with my crocheting. So we will see. But I do thank you all for joining me. Thank you for bearing with me with the tech issues. Well, I envy every podcaster out there, because putting a video together is not easy. I try to do things in, limited takes, so I don't have to edit as much, but the editing takes a long time. So you have to, besides the projects you're working on, you have to do the videoing, the recording, and then you have to do the editing. And then if you want to put pictures or if you want to put music to it, it takes that much more. And this time I'm hoping, I did timestamps before, so I'm hoping to go ahead and figure out how to do that on YouTube. I kind of forgot. That way you don't want to listen to a certain section, you can skip ahead. I don't want you guys to have to sit through me for 30 minutes and go, oh gosh. I want you to have fun. I want you to pick and choose what you want to listen to. So I do want to get those timestamps on there. So hopefully I will get that figured out, and hopefully we can get this released maybe on Sunday. So I wish you all a wonderful November, and I'm getting excited about Thanksgiving. I am going to make a pumpkin tomorrow in the oven. I don't remember the name of it. I got it at the Maze, and it is a cooking pumpkin. So it's a special pumpkin. So I will write down what that is and let you know next time. But I'm going to make some pumpkin. going to put it in the freezer for pumpkin pie, and then I'm also going to make some pumpkin dog treats. Hopefully, I can find a good recipe for that. So stay tuned for that. All right. Well, I wish you all a great week coming up. Hopefully, it won't get too cold next week for everybody. It's going to start cooling down here. I think it's supposed to get into the upper 30s, lower 40s. I need to go out in my garden and trim all my basil and the rest of my cosmos flowers for dyeing. And tomatoes. I need to pick tomatoes. So I don't know if it's going to freeze, but I want to try to get ahead of the game and get all that stuff picked so I don't have to worry about it. But it's a nice time of year. All the leaves are starting to turn here, and it's just pretty. So the fall is one of my favorite times of year. But all right, well, thank you so much for watching. If you want to subscribe, go for it. That way you get notifications when I get a new video put out. But thank you so much. Any suggestions on the Icelandic fleeces and spinning lopi, please comment below and your experiences with knitting them to make some kind of a garment like a vest or a cardigan. So, all right, until next time, have a good one.